What? What? You went outside? You gotta go outside? Oh, okay. We only got a couple of minutes. What time is it? Hurry. Better hurry. Come on, let's go. Come on.
All right, everyone. My clock says 6:30, so that must be about right. So I'd like to call this meeting to order and welcome everybody to the regular city council meeting for January 10, 2022, the first one of the new year. So happy new year, everyone. Hope your Christmas and New Year's was great time that you could spend with friends and family, at least remotely. This meeting is being live streamed on Zoom only. It is not in person, unfortunately, this evening. I'm going to ask the clerk to go ahead and do the roll call for attendance.
Change the screen.
Hey, Deputy Mayor Broersma,
I am present.
Councillor Beeler, Councillor Farmer,
Here.
Councillor Ripley, Councillor Restucci,
Here.
Councillor Hicks,
Here.
Councillor Hart,
Here.
Interim City Manager Alba,
Here.
City Clerk Renteria, I am here. Interim Finance and Administrative Services Director Horner,
Here.
Fire Chief Anderson,
I'm here.
Police Chief Escalera,
Here.
Public Works Director Fisher.
I'm here.
Okay, so I have Councillor Beeler and Councillor Ripley. Deputy Mayor, what would you like to do with those?
As I understand, somebody had made contact with Councilor Ripley. Is that correct?
That's correct. She called me and she was at the council chambers. So she was running home to try to get on. And Martin Beeler is trying to get on. He's unable to at this moment.
Okay, so let's give them a chance to get on, and we can bring it up again at the end of the meeting if we need to. All right, next item of business is a proclamation. If we can get that up on the screen and I can read that into the record as we celebrate Martin Luther King Day, a national holiday. Thank you. We can scroll that up just a little bit, please. All right. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King devoted his life to the advancement of civil rights and public service, he believed in a nation of freedom and justice for all and challenged all citizens to help build a more perfect union and live up to the purpose and potential of America. And whereas Dr. King's teachings can continue to guide and inspire us in addressing challenges in our communities, and the King Holiday and Service Act, enacted in 1994, designated the King Holiday as a national day of volunteer service. And whereas since 1994, millions of Americans have been inspired by the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to serve their neighbors and communities on the King Holiday, and serving on the King Holiday is an appropriate way to honor Dr. King, meet local and national needs, bring our citizens together, and strengthen our communities and nation. And whereas the King Day of Service is the only federal holiday commemorated as a national day of service and offers an opportunity for Americans to give back to their communities on the holiday and make an ongoing commitment to service throughout the year. And whereas each of us can and must contribute to making our communities better, the city of Sunnyside is actively involved in promoting and preserving racial equality, a peaceful community, and accessible opportunity by all citizens. And please scroll up. There we are. Oops. Now, therefore, I, Dean Brewersmont, Mayor of the City of Sunnyside, Washington, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of the state of Washington and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim January 18, 2022 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the City of Sunnyside. In testimony whereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Sunnyside to be affixed, done at the City of Sunnyside this 10th day of January in the year 2022.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
shouldn't that be January the 17th?
I don't know. As I read it, I noticed that it was saying that it was 2021, so I corrected that, but I didn't think to look at the day. Should it
Yeah,
say January
because
17?
I believe that's the correct Monday on my calendar.
You are probably correct. I don't have a calendar in front of me at the moment. We will make that correction and I will sign the appropriate document.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. I noticed that Mr. Beeler has joined us. And has Ms. Ripley been able to join us yet? Okay. Well, for the record, Mr. Beeler is with us.
Yes, I am.
Next item of business, public comments. Madam City Manager, have we received any requests to make public comments?
I have received no request for public comments.
Is there anybody on this Zoom call who would like to make public comments to the council?
Yep.
If so, please state your name, city of residence, and we will give you 3 minutes to make your comments. Hearing none, moving on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening consists of the following, excuse me? Okay. Consists of the following: approve the minutes of the November 22, 2021 regular meeting, approve the minutes of the December 6, 2021 workshop, approve payroll vouchers number 119036 through 119040 and wire transfers as listed for $432,536.66 for the period ending on December 10, 2021. Approve payroll vouchers number 119041 through 119044 and wire transfers as listed for $603,242.45 for the period ending on December 23, 2021. Claim vouchers, approve claim voucher number 102605 through 102650 and wire transfers as listed for $111,502.94 for the period ending on December 15, 2021. Approve claim vouchers numbers 102651 through 102715 and wire transfers as listed for $386,087.94 for the period ending on December 22, 2021. Approve claim voucher numbers 102716 through 102751 and wire transfers as listed for $126,371.43 for the period ending on December 29, 2021. Approved claim voucher numbers 102752 through 102780 and wire transfers as listed for $123,254.93 for the period ending on January 5, 2022. And approved claim voucher numbers 102781 through 102795 and wire transfers as listed for $47,904.80 for the period ending on January 5, 2022. Is there any item that any council member would like to remove from this list? Hearing none, what is the desire of council?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hicks, I move to approve.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve by Councillor Hicks
I'll second.
and a second by Councillor Hart. Any debate on this item? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to do a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Ripley? Not on the call yet. Deputy Mayor Boersma?
Yes.
Counselor Restucci?
Yes.
Counselor Beeler?
Yes.
Counselor Hicks?
Yes.
Counselor Farmer?
Yes.
Counselor Hart?
Yes.
Mayor, you have 6 yes votes.
Thank you. The consent agenda has been approved. Next item is the active agenda. First item is the selection of mayor for 2022. I will receive at this time nominations for mayor for 22-23 year.
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Restucci. I nominate Dean Boersma for mayor.
Okay,
Councilman Hicks, I'll second that.
any other nominations? Any more nominations? Last time, any more nominations? Very well, nominations are closed. We will ask the clerk to go and do a roll call vote for this, please.
Deputy Mayor Boersma?
Yes.
Counselor Restucci?
Yes.
Counselor Beeler? Counselor Beeler?
Yes.
Thank you. Counselor Hicks?
Yes.
Counselor Farmer?
Yes.
Counselor Hart?
Yes.
There's 6 yes votes.
Well, thank you, and thank you, everybody, for the honor. I certainly will do my best to live up to that. Now, it's not on the agenda, but the state of Washington, in its RCW, does not require us to select a second highest elected official, deputy mayor or mayor pro tem, but we're certainly allowed to do so. If there's no objection, I would like to receive nominations for deputy mayor at this time. Are there any objections? Hearing none, nominations for deputy mayor are open.
Councilman Hicks, I'd like to nominate Councilor Restucci.
We have a nomination for Councilor Restucci. Thank you, sir.
Counselor Beeler, I'll second the nomination for Counselor Reducci.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations? Any more nominations? Last time? Do we have any more nominations? Very well, nominations are closed. I will now ask the city clerk to please do a roll call vote.
Mayor Boersma?
Yes.
Counselor Restucci?
Yes.
Counselor Beeler?
Yes.
Counselor Hicks?
Yes.
Counselor Farmer?
Yes.
Counselor Hart.
Yes.
That's 6 yes votes.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council, for your support.
All right, the next item of business is an executive session scheduled to last 15 minutes under RCW 42.30.110, parentheses 1C. To consider.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am, sir.
Point of order, sir. I believe we received a request from the city manager. Hold on a second here. Executive session, yeah.
Change my.
Mayor, I move to withdraw the executive session for under RCW 4231.10.1C and change it to RCW 4231.10.1I.
Okay, I didn't write that down fast enough.
Oh, no worries, sir.
Okay. All right, any discussion on this?
That was in my direction, Mayor Boersma,
Okay,
would be changed.
very well. If there's no objection to that, and I'm sorry, I did not see emails today. I have been traveling, and so I may have missed one or two things. Very well. We will change it to under the RCW that Mr. Restucci has just outlined, and I didn't write down fast enough. To continue on, to consider the minimum price at which real estate will be offered for sale or lease when.
Actually, no, sir. There's a different statute, so to
Very well, I'm
discuss
going to
with,
allow you to read that, sir. And
no
that way
problem.
we get
To
it right.
discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequences to the agency.
Very well. And I will ask the clerk to please log out those who are not part of this executive session. We'll give you a couple of minutes to do that.
Okay, recording is back on and everyone is back in the meeting.
All right, we're all back. Welcome back, everyone. The next item on our agenda is a closed recording hearing, rezone application 120 East 9th Street. Consider approving the
Mayor?
rezone application RZ 2021-0530 to rezone 120 South 9th Street from R2 medium density residential to M1 light industrial and adopt the attached ordinance. Madam City Manager.
Clerk Renteria, did you have something you needed to add?
Yes. Mayor, can you just state on the record that no action was taken? The recording hadn't started yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. No action was taken on the executive session.
Okay, and I'm going to turn this over to Planning and Community Development Director Shuttleworth.
Thank you, City Manager. This is a rezone application to rezone approximately 0.25 acres from R2 to M1. This one has a kind of a history in that about 2003, the property was applied to rezone to light industrial. And in fact, the council had approved it to go to light industrial, but for some reason, it did not get put on the maps. And then in 2013, the council adopted a new zoning map and a new comp plan map and retained its old zoning. So in order to change the zoning, once again, we need to go through the rezone process because the 2013 ordinance said that all the zoning previously to that doesn't count, and the map in 2013 was the vested map. Looking at the comprehensive plan map that was done in 2013, it's very difficult to see what the proposed land use for this property is. When you really zoom into the map, all you get is a bunch of black lines. So there's no way to say, yes, it's consistent with the comprehensive plan, but we're going to assume it is since we did previously rezone it to that light industrial. The Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on this and has made a recommendation. Their findings and their recommendation is included in your packet tonight. They have recommended that you approve this rezone application, and planning staff is also recommending you approve the rezone application. Are there any questions of planning staff?
All right, council members, I'm going to go down the list and give each one of you a chance to ask some questions or make comments, and I'm going to start with Councilor Beeler. Councilor Beeler, you're frozen.
No questions or comments. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Ripley,
No questions or comments, thanks.
Councilor Hart,
No questions.
Councilor Farmer,
We're just rezoning where that business building is right now, and that's all we're doing, just cleaning it up. Is that correct?
Correct. It's a vacant lot right next to the business building. Both of them are under the same ownership.
Okay, all right. I have no questions or comments other than that.
Councilor Hicks,
All my questions are answers. No questions, comments.
Deputy Mayor Restucci,
No questions or comments, Mr. Mayor.
and I have no questions or comments either. What is the desire of council on this question?
Councilor Higgs, I'll move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion
I'll
to
second.
approve. All right, so Councilor Hicks moved, Deputy Mayor Restucci seconded that we approve the rezone application RZ 2021-0530 to rezone 120 South 9th Street from R2 medium density residential to M1 light industrial and adopt the attached ordinance. Any discussion on this question, on this item? Hearing none, I'll ask the city clerk to go down the roll call, please.
Counselor Ripley,
Yay. Yes,
Mayor Burisma,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Restucci, sorry,
Yes.
Counselor Beeler,
Yes.
Counselor Hicks,
Yes.
Counselor Farmer,
Yes,
Counselor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes votes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next item, item D, Airport Rescue Grant. Consider authorizing the interim city manager to enter into this grant agreement and expend these funds in the amount of $22,000 for operations and maintenance at the Sunnyside Municipal Airport. Madam City Manager.
With that, I will turn it over to Public Works Director Fisher.
Thank you, Madam City Manager. So this is another slug of kind of ARPA money. Comes to the coronavirus relief package. And on November 30th, we submitted an application to be eligible to receive these funds. And on December 16th, we received a letter saying, with an agreement saying that we were eligible. So this is the same, but we'll use it for the same things. Use it to offset some of our airport costs, janitorial, personnel operations, and so with that, what we're tonight is to move to authorize the city manager to enter into the agreement for the 22,000. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Council members, I'm going to go down the list and give you the opportunity to ask questions or to make comments. We're going to start with Councilor Hicks.
No questions or comments.
Councilor Farmer,
no questions or comments.
Councilor Hart,
I was just asking if we could maybe see that document. We're still looking at the 9th Street one. Could we look at the document we're talking about?
maybe scroll down a little more yet.
We're almost there. Lots of legalese there.
There we are. Nope.
Yep.
Continue
Not
moving.
quite. Not quite. One more.
A little bit more yet. Yeah. No, I think we still have to keep going.
it's a big document.
Yes, it is.
It's pretty. Lots of color.
There we are.
There we are.
But-
So we're just asking to approve this grant agreement to expend these funds. And again, this was for maintenance at the airport. Is that what, I'm just trying to refresh my memory here.
We can use it for anything really. We can use it to offset like our janitorial services, our AWAS payments that we make to operate the AWAS. We can use it for our utilities to offset, the power that we use out there. It's really pretty broad. It's just to kind of help us out. Obviously, if we had a pilot's lounge or an airport that had more people there, that we had people coming in and taking off, then we would use part of those funds too to keep it clean and sterilized to prevent the spread of COVID. And so it's really a pretty flexible grant for us. And what it does is it directly offsets the operating costs that we budget out of the general fund. This money will actually come in and replace and really offset those costs. So it is a general fund benefit for sure.
Is that money? My next question is that money also then appropriate to be able to use for some sort of Wi-Fi system out there? As my understanding is we don't have Wi-Fi out at the airport.
Yeah, we've had Wi-Fi out there now for several months.
Oh,
maybe even
good.
6 months. We had it
Okay.
last year, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I was under the impression that hadn't quite happened yet, but thank you for clarifying that. That was my question. I wanted to be able to use that money if we could, but it sounds like we've got it covered.
Yep.
So I have no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Hart. Counselor Ripley,
No questions or comments. Counselor
Beeler,
No questions or comments.
Deputy Mayor Restucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Fisher, I'm wondering if we might want to put this money or put this question to the Sunnyside Municipal Airport Advisory Board and ask them where they think those dollars should go and make a recommendation to council, unless you've got these earmarked already and you know exactly where you want them.
Well, what we've been doing with the last, because this is the third grant we've received. We had a 20,000, a 9,000, and then this one for 22. And what we've done with them, Councilor Stucci, is we've taken those and just offset just operating costs at the airport. We can't use it for any projects. We can only use it for operations and maintenance. But I mean, yeah, that's something we can definitely. I mean, I think for the sake of just letting the airport board know that we're receiving them for sure. We have to have it signed by the attorney for the 21st of this month for those funds to go into, but it doesn't mean that we have them spent already. So we'll definitely have time to go back to the airport board if that's something the council wants to see, and to take it before them and get their feedback and input. Absolutely.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. So my question is along the same lines as the deputy mayor's, in that we have an airport board and they should definitely have some input into how that money gets spent. Obviously, it is limited in the proposal, but still they should have something to say about that. I'd like to see that go before them as well. I don't have a problem to authorize the city manager to enter in this agreement, but I'd certainly like to see it go through the airport board and get their feedback on that. So, and that's what
I can do that for sure.
Very well.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Hart, yes.
Will that in any way impact the deadline on having the grant signed? Is there an advisory meeting coming up, or can that be something?
I spoke to Chairman Dolan tonight, and he doesn't plan to hold a meeting for the airport board until February. So, because we didn't have any agenda items, but if you gave us something, I'm sure we could probably put together an agenda and have a meeting.
Just in keeping with that deadline on when this needs to be signed, right?
Correct.
Right.
Can we add to the motion something that approves the motion tonight and then
Like vending?
and then puts it through the airport board later?
Yeah, we could do that. That's no problem at all. We just got to make sure we have it signed by the 21st of this month. Doesn't mean, I mean, you're just authorizing, yeah, if you guys want to make that motion that it, and authorize that, then bring it back, to the next airport advisory board meeting, that's fine.
Well, on a personal level, I feel that's the right way to go, but
Yeah, I think so.
input from other council members on that one would be a good idea here.
Well, and I would agree wholeheartedly with you, Mr. Mayor. I mean, the three of us here, Councilor Hart, yourself and myself, we've all served as mayors. We know what it's like to fill boards and commission seats. Getting people to serve in these roles for no money, giving up their time to provide input for the council, that's difficult enough. And if we have something that's right up their bailiwick, then that's really something we should be giving them.
And I agree. We appoint these people to these positions for a reason, because they have something to say there. They've got something to offer. And I think it's valuable to take advantage of their experience and their perspective as well. So other comments from council on this question on whether it should go before the airport board?
But it's Councilor Beeler, it was brought up that this is just for continue maintenance and operation. So there really is no directive to anywhere else. So I don't see if that would be a real big.
It's just a courtesy, perhaps.
Okay, other comments? Hearing none at this point, then what is the desire of council on this item?
Mr. Mayor, this is Deputy Mayor Restucci. I would move to authorize the city manager enter into this grant agreement and expend these funds in the amount of $22,000 for operations and maintenance at the Sunnyside Municipal Airport, with the caveat that these items be sent before the Sunnyside Municipal Airport Advisory Board for a recommendation to council at a future meeting.
Councilman Hart, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second that we authorize the city manager to enter into this grant agreement and expend these funds in the amount of $22,000 for the operations and maintenance at Sunnyside Municipal Airport, and also to pass it by the advisory board for consideration as well. Any debate on this item? Hearing none, Madam City Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call vote?
Councilor Ripley,
Yes.
Mayor Burisma,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Restucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer,
Yes.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes votes.
Thank you. Next item, false alarm ordinance. Consider adopting the revisions to the false alarm ordinance. Madam City Manager.
This is an item that was brought before you at a previous council meeting. It has been reviewed by the city attorney, and I will let Chief Escalera give you more information on it.
Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Deputy Mayor and Council. As the city manager just said, we had brought this before last month for discussion. Council had some input and requested some changes be made, in which we believe that we have done that in order to facilitate some of the issues that were brought up. This was sent to legal since we did change quite a few of the sections that are in here. And we were remaining consistent with the charging, and we also increased the number of false alarms that a person could have or a business could have. It was 1 per calendar year. We raised it up to 2 with no charge, and then the third false alarm would then impose a fee of $75. Now, the failed to respond to alarm locations is noted under 9.90.040. That has its own monetary fine that's assessed to that, and it's less money, it's $50 per occurrence. And it does not associate with the first two alarms. This one is activated immediately upon the first alarm, because this does address alarm locations as opposed to just the alarm itself. So this is regarding the response from the responsible or the owner. And so it does enact immediately from the very first response that we have to a security or a fire alarm. We did under 9.90.020 under response to alarms, we had really had changed that in order to simplify the response to alarms and what that actually meant. And same with a simple correction in section C under 9.90.010, where we took out burglary and or robbery, and we just left it as a security alarm for anything that potentially could be construed as criminal. And we ensured that we kept the fire alarm in there to delineate the two. So I believe that it does cover everything that council was looking at earlier, and legal did sign off on this. So I stand for questions if you should have any.
Thank you, sir. All right, questions and comments from council members. We'll start with Councillor Beeler. Councillor Beeler. Well, we can come back to him. Councillor Ripley.
No questions or comments at this time.
Thank you. Councillor Hart.
So these revisions to the false alarm ordinance only refer to the number of false alarms that might be counted towards a business or to a residence? Is that what we're trying to do here?
Actually, what we're trying to do is
limit the number?
what we're trying to do here is actually make it as fair as possible, but yet recover some of the costs that are incurred from the city of Sunnyside public safety entities, meaning police and fire. And so we basically just increased the number. And the reason why we did that of giving them 2 alarms without any penalty is because sometimes you're not sure what the cause is. So the first one, you may be looking into it and it's not clear as to why it's doing what it's doing. And then the second one, you tend to find what the problem is as a business owner or homeowner and then repair that issue. So we just extended that portion of it. However, we did want to break down and be very clear about the monetary amounts, monetary penalties that are assessed to each of those sections under 9.90030 and also under 9.90040. Initially, it was quite vague, and it left room for interpretation, good and bad. So it just wasn't clear enough. So we were able to nail this down to where it was fair and amenable to everybody involved.
Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Farmer.
Yes, I have some comments. I totally understand the need for this. And I spoke about it quite a bit at the last time. There are still a couple problems that I see. I know that when we fill out a business fills out a business license, they do give emergency numbers for the police or the fire to call. Now, the problem I see is, just for an example, if we had a sole proprietor who was the only employee there, and he lived in, or they lived in, she lived in Yakima or the Tri-Cities and commuted here every day, they're not going to make it here in 30 minutes. or if for some reason they were out of town, they're not going to make it here in 30 minutes. I think we're penalizing a sole proprietor with no employees. Although I don't know any other way to do it, but I think that's a concern that I have. Also, if it's a sole owner and they have kids at home, they just can't get up in the middle of the night and leave their kids home and respond to this. So that's a concern I have. I'm also concerned about the payment of the fees. We're talking 30 days. Well, that's pretty easy for a business that's here in town. But if it's a large corporation, by the time the paper trail hits the desk of the large corporation and they only write checks maybe once a month, they're going to go past the 30 days. So then they're automatically going to get sent to a collection agency. And I just don't think that's the business we want to be in, is sending accounts to a collection agency. I think 30 days is too soon. This is probably the only accounting in the city that will send a collection agency, turn somebody over to a collection agency in 30 days. I just don't think that's right.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Deputy Mayor, any questions or comments?
Actually, I want to agree with Councillor Farmer. I agree. I think 30 days is too early. We need to give them more time, especially a large corporation. I mean, I deal with large corporations on a regular basis with my company, and Mr. Farmer's correct. I mean, if you get paid in 30 days, you're lucky. It's usually about 45 days for a large corporation to get paid.
Very good. Thank you. Councillor Hicks.
Yeah, my concerns are already asked by Councilor Farmer there. No other questions or comments.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Councillor Beeler.
No more questions or comments. Mr. Farmer took care of mine.
All right, thank you. And my comments are somewhat along the line of Councillor Farmer's as well. Thinking especially of those who live outside of the community but run a business in Sunnyside, for them to make it in the allotted period of time is going to be a real challenge, especially as those alarms tend to go off late at night or on weekends or on holidays. That does make it a challenge. I don't know what else to do, but I agree. I don't know how I would make it from Yakima to Sunnyside in the 30 minutes. Technically, if you're in Union Gap, I suppose you can make it, but it's tough when you're somewhere in Yakima, or Tri-Cities is even tougher. So that would be my only objection to this. Any further comments? All right, then, what is the desire of council?
Mr.
Mayor,
Mayor,
I would move that we send this back and have some more revisions done to this, to where it makes it a little more business friendly and easier to comply with the setup.
Mr. Mayor, I would agree with that.
So, Mr. Farmer, are you making a motion to postpone?
I would make a motion to send it back.
Okay.
For revision.
I'll second that.
Okay, so it sounds like we've almost got 2 seconds on that one. I think Ms. Hart gave us a second. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to send this back, and we have a second. Is there any debate on this? Hearing, somebody gonna say something? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please go down the roll call for the vote?
Councillor Ripley,
Yes, send it back.
Mayor Burisma,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Restucci,
Yes.
Councillor Beeler,
Yes.
Councillor Hicks,
Yes.
Councillor Farmer,
Yes.
Councillor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, there's 7 yes votes.
All right, thank you very much, Chief Escalera. I guess you've got some more work to do.
Thank you.
All right. Next item of business. Yeah, it's not our goal to send you more work, sir, but we're going to get it right.
There you go.
Next item of business, item F, Yakima Valley Conference of Governments. This is, we're going to start filling some committee positions and some council positions. You have an opportunity to serve in various functions around the county as well. And I've had the privilege of serving on a couple of different of these boards and commissions in the county, and I have found it to be extremely beneficial. So I encourage you to give this all some thought. The first was the Yakima Valley Conference of Government, item F, the selection of primary and alternate delegate to the YVCOG. I'm first going to ask if there are volunteers.
Mr. Mayor, I would volunteer.
Okay, very well. I know I served on that last year and I found it extremely beneficial. Do we have others that would like to serve?
Mr. Mayor,
volunteer.
what time do these people meet? When are the meetings scheduled?
Typically, Mr. Restucci can probably answer that better than I could, but I typically find these meetings to be 5 p.m.
Yeah, they're actually, just so you know, Mike, they're codified in our bylaws. And we meet on a Wednesday evening. And it's usually the third Wednesday of the month. And it's for 2 hours. And normally it's a dinner meeting at some location in the valley. But lately we've been, because of the mandate and COVID and all that stuff, we've been remote.
Zoomer.
I would be interested in serving on that committee also.
Okay. So we've got 2 volunteers, Ms. Hart and Mr. Farmer. Councilor Ripley?
Yes, I'll volunteer for it.
We have another one as well. We only get to pick one. Remember that.
We get a primary and an alternate and a planning commission member. And then we have an executive committee member, which council, I'm going to ask for your support for that as chair of the COG. I've been asked to stay as chair of the COG for 2 more years. So I'm asking for your support on the executive committee when we get to that.
I'll take primary.
Well, that will be the next item. All right, so we do have 3 people who have volunteered. And as our deputy mayor has said, we need 1 primary, 1 alternate, and then 1 for the planning commission, planning board. Is that right?
Correct. It's a planning commissioner's position. So any one of the planning commissioners on our planning commission can be a member.
Okay. Very good. So do we want to do this by vote, or does somebody want to volunteer to be the alternate?
Well, who do you have as primary?
Well, I've got 3 people. I haven't listed anyone as primary yet.
Well, I'll take that.
If somebody wants to be the alternate, then that solves the problem, doesn't it?
I can serve as the alternate, as the exec committee member. I can serve as the alternate if you want me to, but I don't have to.
But I've got 3.
I look at it this way, right?
You got 2 other people who want to do it, so.
Correct, Ms. Hart. Get more members of council involved in this. So I agree wholeheartedly. I can serve as the exec committee member, and then you guys can choose a primary and alternate.
Mr. Mayor, I will make it easy for you.
All right.
I will bow out.
Very good. And Councilor Ripley, would you be all right serving as the alternate?
Yes,
Okay, the reason I ask is this is your first term, your first year, and gives you a chance to get your feet wet, get some experience. You can learn an awful lot by sitting in on those meetings and listening. Even as a non-voting member, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and you get an earful of what's happening around the county in various cities. And I find the rapport among these individuals to be very good, and it also can be quite entertaining. So this is a good group to be a part of. So I encourage you to even listen in, even if you don't have to be there. Do participate.
It's a good learning experience.
All right, Ms. Hart, you then are the primary and the voting member.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, you can just do a without objection, and then we can move on.
Yeah, why don't you do that? That's fine.
Let's do that. Is there any objection to what I've just said?
No.
Hearing none. All right. Ms. Hart, you are the primary. Ms. Ripley, you are the alternate. Next item of business is sorry, I was turning a page. The member to the executive committee, Mr. Restucci, has served as the chair and has been asked to stay on. He has done, in my opinion, a very good job. Is there any objection to Mr. Restucci, our deputy mayor, continuing on in this position?
Objection.
Thank you, Ms. Hart.
Hearing none. Council, Deputy Mayor, you are continuing in your position.
Thank you very much, council.
Next, the Driving Rural Yakima Valley's Economy, the Drive Committee. Selection of a primary and alternate representative for the Drive Committee. And I apologize, I do not have before me the purview of what the Drive Committee is all about.
Driving Rural Yakima Valley Enterprise, Mr. Mayor. It's an organization made up of elected officials and government agencies, as well as private business owners. And the idea is that everything that's related to transportation in the rural in our valley, there are two groups. There's Drive, which is Driving Rural Yakima Valley Enterprise, and then in the upper valley is I'm sorry, I can't think of the name now. Anyway, the two groups meet as a joint board and regularly meet and talk about transportation issues in the valley. Now, the thing is, they're not a decision-making board or anything of that nature. And they do have lobbying tools and things of that nature as well. They kind of, the committees are put together to try and lobby in Olympia at the state legislator level to get transportation funding, as well as they put together an annual trip to Washington, D.C. every year to meet with members of Congress.
Excellent. Well, you all heard what he said. I had the chance to serve as an alternate once and have attended 2 meetings of that. Once again, I find it incredibly beneficial for us as elected officials to be able to participate and get to know and work with other elected officials and those involved in these committees.
This Transaction, Mr. Mayor, I couldn't think of the name of it. Transaction is the Upper Valley group,
correct,
and
yes.
Drive is the Lower Valley group. As a transportation commissioner, I serve on both of those groups, so I don't want to take a council seat. So by all means, somebody go ahead, and they're in the afternoons, 1:30 in the afternoon, and they're held up in Yakima at the Union Gap office there with the DOT.
All right. Do we have any volunteers for this to serve on this group?
Councilman Beeler will put my name in the hat.
All right, Councilor Beeler.
How many do we need? 1 people.
There's no, I think, I'm trying to look here.
It's 2, Mr. Mayor,
We
primary
need
and an
2,
alternate.
yes. Yeah, I lost my place on the paper. Yeah, we need 2, a primary and an alternate.
I'll go ahead and be the alternate again.
Okay. Ms. Ripley has.
Don't worry,
volunteered.
Vicky, we're going to get you up to speed.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Very long.
All right. Without objection, Mr. Beeler is the primary on the Drive Committee, and Ms. Ripley is our alternate. Hearing no objection, there it is.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make sure that the chair of Drive and Transaction is aware of our members and gets them plugged in so they get communication and things of that nature.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Good.
Next item, Yakima County Solid Waste Advisory Group. We need 1 representative to this. And if there's no objection, I would like to serve on this. It is a commission that I have not yet been able to participate in. And so I would like to participate here. I understand it doesn't meet tremendously often, but I do want to learn a few things about it.
I'd say without objection, it's yours.
Yeah, exactly. More power to you, Mr. Mayor. You want to talk about solid waste with people?
Woohoo.
Hey, I sometimes have to deal with a lot more of that solid waste issue than I would like to. So
Right.
learning more about it was not a bad thing. So thank you for that. Unless there's objection, I'll allow somebody else to serve on that. But all right. Item J is our Countywide Planning and Policy Committee, selection of a representative to the Countywide Planning and Policy Committee. Volunteers.
Volunteers, come on, guys. We got Hicks, we got Farmer.
Once again, I'm going to ask Mr. Restucci to give a description of our countywide planning and policy committee. He has been intimately involved with so many committees around the county.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the countywide planning policy committee was created when, if council remembers, or if you remember back, I'll give you a little bit of history. The city of Yakima and the Yakima County used to have a joint planning commission, in which there was a regional planning commission in which the city of Yakima council members and the county commissioners sat on one, appointed a group of individuals to serve and represent them for all the planning issues. But there was a fallout about a decade ago, and they broke up completely, and then they split, and both of them created their own planning commissions. The countywide policy committee was created to ensure that mayors and council members were weighing in with the county commissioners about land use issues and things of that nature, and really a 20,000 foot level of planning policy at the county level. I recommend members who are interested in land use and things of that nature that this is a really good committee to serve on. But as the mayor said, they don't meet very often. This was created by Mike Leda, and from as far as I know, he was the last person to chair and actually make this thing work. So I don't even know if the new county commissioners are even going to chair this group or even have these meetings or not.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Do we have volunteers to serve on this committee?
Mr. Mayor, I'd be interested in learning more about that via serving on that committee.
Very well. Thank you, Ms. Hart. Do we have other volunteers? Hearing none and without objection, Ms. Hart, you are on that committee.
Thank you.
The last one is Sunnyside Unidos, and I have had the privilege of serving on that committee for 6 years. The last 2 years, I wasn't able to do that and pass that off to someone else because of time constraints. It is a fascinating group. Used to be chaired by Kathy Kelly. It's got a new chair, but interested in keeping Sunnyside kids out of gangs, off of drugs, away from alcohol, that sort of things. The kind of interventions that can be done, understanding the forces that are working in those kids' lives. We've got school board members on there. We've got teachers on there. We've got some medical professionals who have served on that as well. It's a group of very dedicated people, and I would encourage people to also learn about this. Like I said, I served on it for a number of years, but because of my work schedule, I can no longer be available at the time of day that they meet. They normally meet at 10 o'clock in the morning, and that's a difficult one for me. I did get them to do 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but I still kind of struggle with that one some days as well. So do we have volunteers to serve on Sunnyside Unidos?
You know,
Mr. Mayor, this is
Mr. Farmer, go ahead.
this is Councilman Farmer. I currently serve on that committee. I will not be able to. The 10 o'clock meeting is just really tough for me. It is a very fascinating committee. It is a good committee to be on, but 10 o'clock in the morning just doesn't work for me.
Completely understand. Mr. Restucci, you were going to say something?
Oh, I just wanted to say, Mr. Mayor, you know, as a founding member of the organization and as its first chair, I have it's deep in my heart here for this organization. I truly love this organization. I'm more than happy to represent council, but again, I've already done all the things. I've run chairs, committees, all that stuff in that organization. So if somebody else wants to do it, by all means, step up.
We have a volunteer. Ms. Ripley, I think this would be an ideal one for you, to be honest.
Actually, I would agree.
so?
I think Ms. Ripley, you would do really well on this one.
I think because there's so many different people that it would help you to really learn a lot about what's going on throughout the community. I think
Is it once a week they meet?
No, not that often at all. Once a month.
Once a month.
Once a month on a Thursday, isn't it, Mr.
I
Mayor?
think so.
Yeah,
I think
and
so.
it's held at the 810 meeting or 810 building there. What do they call it? The Denny Blaine?
There's
Denny
Zoom
Blaine
right
Blaine
now,
building.
board meeting hall, yeah.
Yeah.
but they are all Zoom.
They
right
are
now.
all Zoom right now.
Yeah.
Oh, are they? Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Even easier.
Well, I'm gonna really learn how to do Zoom, huh?
Well, you'll know how pretty soon.
Believe me, if we can learn it, you can learn it.
You can do it.
I made it here. Okay, I'll sign up for this one.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for volunteering or being volunteered. Trust me, some of these groups, it is an amazing privilege to serve on these committees.
Speaking of which, Mr. Mayor, we might want to inform Mr. Beeler that he was elected SIDC secretary.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right, Mr.
he
Beeler,
doesn't
you weren't here
know.
at the time. There's this railroad sound that should be going on in the background right now. But as a first-term council member, you are now the secretary of the Sunnyside Sunnyside, how's that go? SIDC.
Industrial Development
Industrial Development Corporation. Thank you, sir. So you are the secretary. Typically, they meet once a year to select officers, and then they don't. Although when I was president, we met 5 or 6 times. So it
And it
could
depends on
happen.
what's going on, right?
Absolutely.
It's a great organization for when we have development stuff going on, Marty. And one of the things about it is a pass-through organization, right? So the city and the port can use that vehicle to assist an organization in some type of economic development.
And I think the last time that they did something really big like that was with the mushroom
With
company.
Oceans. Yeah.
With
I was
Oceans.
the chair that year. That was a
Yeah,
fun
because
year.
there was a number of meetings that were held that year.
Mhm. All right. Again, thank you, everyone. Our next item is items from council members, and we'll start with item A, mayor's appointments for boards and commissions. And I'm going to switch the order. Take the last one first. Consider appointing Lindsay Kerfman to the Community Economic Development Commission.
Yay.
Without objection, I'm going to move that forward and appoint her.
Good job.
All right, consider her appointed. I have worked with Lindsay on a number of different capacities, and I find her to be a phenomenal person to work with. She will get some things done, and so I'm happy to see her there. All right, now up to item 1, up above that, City Manager Contract Committee. If you're counting the months, you may realize that our interim city manager has been serving in her capacity for 6 months, and we agreed that 6 months on, we would be talking about a contract with her, and we need to appoint a committee to put that contract together. I have served on contract committees in the past, as has Mr. Restucci, our deputy mayor. Others of you may have served on others in the past as well. What I'm looking for tonight is I think that, and this is just my opinion, feel free to come after me if you disagree, but I think the mayor and deputy mayor should definitely serve on that commission. And then I would like to see at least, well, I'd like to see one more person. We can only have 3.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I would be interested in serving on that committee.
Is there any objection to
Mayor,
Ms.
I
Hart
would-
serving on that? I'm sorry, Mr. Farmer?
I would like to serve on that committee also.
Okay, we are allowed 3. Otherwise it becomes a council meeting. So let's see. You know, and I know, Mr. Farmer, you've had some serious discussions about the previous city manager's contract. And they are justified questions. I don't have any objections to those. I think typically we have the mayor and the deputy mayor serve there. Is there any rule that requires that?
No, this is, you're using your power under 8.3 of the council rules of procedure to appoint ad hoc committees, Mr. Mayor. So,
That's correct.
you know, and when it comes to council, you just have to be mindful of, you know, the rule of 3. So
Mhm.
when you appoint a committee, you want to appoint 3 members of the council, so to avoid any quorums and things of that nature.
That's correct. And that's what I was thinking of. I was just asking, is there any requirement that the mayor serve on that? Because I really believe in the ability of Councillor Hart and Councillor Farmers and their input on this one, as well as I've got a great deal of faith in yourself, in your experience there, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I would be willing to step down from that committee and allow.
You know what, Mr. Mayor, I can step down from that committee and allow Mr. Farmer and Ms. Hart to serve on that with you. You're the signatory, sir. So you actually sign the contract with the manager. So I would really want you on that. I'm there in case, you know, you're not there or not available. So actually, you know, Mr. Farmer has been mayor, Ms. Hart's been mayor. You both have dealt with contracts before. I see no reason why the 3 of you wouldn't be a great committee.
Okay, any objection to that? Excuse me. All right, so this committee will be made up of myself as mayor, Councillor Hart, and Councillor Farmer. we will get together before too long and come up with a time where we can meet together and begin discussion. City Manager Alba.
I'm preparing hard packets for each of you that will have the salary schedule, my current contract, Martin Casey's 2 contracts that he had. And then I have also procured 5 contracts from other cities that are 2 of them in the valley, 3 of them in the valley, and then 2 of them of similar size. And then I've also prepared a summary worksheet that gives you an easy comparison of these other cities that will be in your packet. So I've got the packets almost ready. I'll be able to deliver them this week.
Brilliant. If you could get those to us, and then committee members take some time to read through that. And then after suitable time, I will set up a time with you where we can meet. Everyone in agreement with that?
Sounds good.
Very good.
Good.
Let me write this down before I forget. Perfect. All right, thank you. Council request status report, next item. We can get that up on the screen. Did we lose our screen guru?
She got to take care of the baby.
She's got babies to take care of. Yeah, there we are. Thank you. All right, Madam City Manager.
So there really is no updates from any of the items that are assigned to Public Works. And honestly, right now we've been in hold mode due to weather and then the multiple COVID outbreaks among city departments. So we've been kind of running on a shoestring, but we plan as soon as we get fully staffed to start looking at some of these. And a lot of them are things that have future impacts that we have to wait for weather, or we have to wait for something else. So we have nothing to update at this point on any of these items.
Very good. The purpose of the council request status report, of course, is to keep these things at the front of our minds. We do understand that occasionally, sometimes we're not gonna be able to get some things done for various reasons. And we know that you guys have been incredibly busy with at least one day last week, snow removal. It was tremendous. And staff absences due to sickness has been another factor that's been affecting the entire city. So, but it's still important to have this on our mind. Is there anything that any council member would like to add to the council request status report? Hearing none, let's move on. Other reports and announcements, questions by council. I'm just going to go down the list and give each of you an opportunity, and we're going to start with Councilor Beeler.
I have nothing right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilor Ripley.
I have nothing.
All right, Councilor Hart.
I have several items. I'll be Mr. Farmer tonight. One of the things I did want to, and you mentioned it, Mr. Mayor, about the city crews on the snow removal this past week. They had several residents get a hold of me and tell me what an outstanding job and how cooperative and helpful our city crews were in snow removal when there were some issues. So I just want to put that out there. And I think I turned over the names to City Manager Alba in regards to from some of the residents. So they just did a super job, and really pleased with how they turned out. I didn't know if it had already been reported or not. I just saw it today. And I know that it's been going around. We've been seeing a lot more graffiti. So I wanted to ask about our street crimes appointments or detective people that they've been appointed. The graffiti that's probably as tall as I am on the backside of the Sunnyside Senior Citizen Center. I hadn't noticed it before. I just noticed it today, but there's a huge OS over there. I don't think it stands for senior citizens, but it's a nice piece of graffiti art. So if somebody could check into that. Also, I had several people talk to me about the city closures. how best to advertise some of those. I'm wondering if we can't do, I know it's not easy to get it out to everybody, but it seems like if we could do something more with our Facebook page. I know that we've had some emails go out, but I know that it's difficult again with the shortage of folks in the office due to the COVID, which is kind of a catch, what do you call it? A catch 22 there. You're out and how do you get people to know that you're closed? But it seems like if we could get something on our Facebook going out, some sort of an alert that goes out, like breaking news or something, that would be, I know that we've talked in the past about maybe having somebody who's in charge of communications. That's something maybe we want to readdress at some point, but I think we need to do a little bit better job of trying to get that information out to our community at large. And I don't have a really good, maybe sending it to the newspaper, and maybe they're putting it on their Facebook because or their Instagram accounts. And I know we have our own. What was the other one? Graffiti, Facebook alerts, and I think those were the things that that I had on my list that I wanted to at least bring up for discussion, if not tonight, for a future reference.
All right, thank you, Counselor. Counselor Farmer.
Several things, but I'll just talk about one tonight. We used to be notified of any gang shooting in the city. And it's my understanding that the Yakima County no longer does that. I would like to be notified, as I think every other council member would like to be notified when we have gang shootings or violent crimes, shootings and that kind of stuff. I think we need to be notified. I get caught off guard almost every week about something that I knew absolutely nothing about, and the citizenry of the city knows more than I do. And I would like to set up some kind of a protocol to where we can be notified when we have gang shootings or violent crimes of some kind. Not even gang shootings, just plain shootings. I think that we as council members should be notified so we can be aware of what's happening in our city.
All right, thank you, sir. And Counselor Hicks.
I've got nothing new to add.
All right, Deputy Mayor.
Just the YVCOG Exec Committee will be meeting on the 19th of January. On Wednesday in the afternoon at 1:30, we'll have the MPO, RTPO, and the YVCOG Exec Committee meeting. Exec Committee member is the only one who has to attend that, so our new primary and alternate delegates don't have to worry about that. The next YVCOG general membership meeting will be February 16th, 2022. And right now it's virtual, just so you know. That's all I have right now, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, can I just ask Mr. Ristucci through you a
Go ahead.
question? There was, it seems to me I saw an email regarding some sort of a special meeting for new elects.
Correct. Yeah, we're in the process of doing that. I'm in the process of writing a letter to all the elected officials as chair. It's not until next month, and I'll get you the information here just a second, ma'am.
Isn't it on the 10th or something?
I believe so. Yeah, and I'm going right now.
I'm
to look.
sorry, I'm just going by memory here. So
Yeah, it's fine. I have to look it up. All right. Yeah, message from the chair. Okay. February 10th at Birchfield Manor. It will be an in-person meeting hosted by the Yakima Valley Conference of Governments. And I'll forward this to you, Mr. Mayor, and to all of council, but we're putting together a program for an evening of celebration for the newly elected and newly re-elected officials. The event will be at Birchfield Manor on February 10th. YVCOG will be sending out save the date info this week. Can you please, and then they want me to offer a message as chair. So that's all I have on it, Madam Hart. I don't know anything else.
Thank you. Thank you. So at
All
least
right,
I
thank
can
you
write
for-
that on my calendar there.
Thank you for clarifying all of that. Up to me, as far as announcements and things I'd like to say, number one, that was mentioned, the cleaning of the streets. I noticed that the crews were out in the way early hours of the morning, and I was extremely thankful for that. Although I believe that they were in reverse for about 45 minutes, but those tractors have backup warnings. But at any rate, no, the streets were cleaned quickly and efficiently, and I was extremely pleased with that. So please pass on my my comments to the city crews. Also, in driving around the city that day, I was just really happy to see the kids sledding down the street by the park. To have that street closed off and allowing kids to go sledding down there, I think that is just a phenomenal thing. I'm extremely happy when I see them doing that. And, you know, we've got that hill. It's almost impassable to traffic when it's slippery. There is no reason to deny kids the opportunity to go sledding down there and have that fun. So well done on that. And that's all I had. Next item, upcoming council meetings, Madam City Manager.
Woohoo.
And I'm sorry, my dogs are having a race. If you hear them, that's them in the background.
We all live lives and we have things
They got
around us.
lives with animals.
Yeah, the Gigi and Billy are chasing each other, so they're having greyhound races. So our next coming agenda is January 24th. We will have 2020 Outstanding Performance Award for the wastewater treatment plant, Judicial Services Agreement for the Municipal Court, Title VI Annual Report, Conditional Use Permit for 10 Maple Grove Road, Citywide Energy Audit from Amoresco, and Cost Recovery Contract, and then subcommittee appointments. So we will get the subcommittees and who's on them currently to you, Mayor Boersma, so that you can get those subcommittees appointed. Our February 7th worksheet, we have the personnel policy review and compensation study. We will have the Parks and Recreation open space plan, and then a discussion on the business hours for city buildings. February 14th, there will be action on the Parks and Recreation and open space plan, and then hopefully action on the business hours. And that's all we have for upcoming meetings.
All right. Well, thank you, Madam City Manager. Anybody has any items that they'd like to add to the agenda, please contact myself or the city manager, and we can see about getting those added. Excuse me. And next page, item from the city manager and department heads. Madam City Manager.
Okay, I'm going to defer to department heads first, and then that way I don't steal their thunder and inadvertently report on something that they'd like to report on. So we'll start with Chief Escalera.
Good evening again. But currently the department has 4 employees out with COVID. We have a 5th person who is also out with an immediate family member with COVID. So as discussed earlier, it is taking its toll on all the departments throughout the city. And to answer a little bit on the street crimes question, the street crimes, the job description and the description of the unit has all been done. It's been completed.
Hear him. We lost you, Chief.
We lost you, Chief. Can't hear you.
After that, it shouldn't take.
There you go. We lost you.
I'm sorry, Chief, we can't hear you.
Other than that, we continue to respond to the many shootings.
Seems as if he can't hear us either.
You can't hear us either. It doesn't sound like.
All right.
I think
I'm getting about.
in the snow.
I'm getting about every third word. Can we move on to the next individual and maybe come back to him if you got some more to say?
Yeah, that I've sent him a message. Hopefully he can get that. Let's move on to Chief Anderson.
Good evening, council members. As same with the fire department, we have two, maybe three. I received another notice today as someone else that's out sick, and I'm not 100% sure if that's due to COVID, but we did have two people out. We've hasn't impacted our services at all. We've been able to bring in other additional people, the volunteers been stepping up a little bit. Other than that, we're just trying to kick off a new year without too much hiccup. Thank you.
Public Works Director Fisher.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, nothing specific. Beginning of the year, we've got some onboarding, trying to get employees hired up, get advertising out for positions. We're still doing. We've got some internal positions that people are moving from one position to another, so we're kind of trying to backfill as we go. Other than that, same old stuff. We'll certainly pass along to my staff. Very proud of all my guys for their efforts on snow removal. It takes to be honest with you, it takes very little effort from me. They all know what they're doing. They plan their days in the early mornings to go out and take care of the snow. They do keep me updated, but they need very little, input from me. So very proud of that. I will certainly pass that on. And that's all I have.
And Chief Escalera has now cleared up his issue, so he's going to speak on the street crimes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening again. I didn't realize it was off there. I thought I was talking to myself, I guess. So the street crimes position was we got the job descriptions and the basic description of the unit and its responsibilities completed. It's being reviewed now. I have my command staff looking at that. And once we have taken care of that, then we will select, we'll put together a selection process for the sergeant's position. And then we will have the sergeant involved for the officer selection process. We are just about completely done with the job description for the street crimes officers. So I'm hoping to get them activated in place by February 15th and get them rolling. As far as notifications go, we do have a policy that is in place and reviewed by and accepted by council. And so we do follow that policy when notifying of violent crime, shootings, etc. So that is there. It is in place. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Okay. Finance and Administrative Services Director Horner.
I just want to reiterate the issues with COVID and people being sick, which you've obviously noted because City Hall has been closed. So 3 of my 4 frontline customer service people have been out with COVID, either in their families or by themselves. In addition, a third of the court staff and myself have all been out of the office. So it's been really rough, but those that have been able to show up have been doing an exceptional job of keeping things going. So hopefully we won't get too many complaints. We are in the process of closing out 2021, and we should be starting on the annual report in the next couple of weeks after we finish paying out period 13. And just to give you an FYI on the utility that we had in place, you guys had approved $300,000 for that utility assistance program. Initially, it was for $200,000 to be used in 2021 and $100,000 in 2022. However, we did only distribute $96,000 in 2021. So hopefully we'll be able to push that $200,000 to 2022. It seems like more people are taking advantage of the payment over time than the one-time payment. So I believe that we will get all of that used up in 2022. I think that is all I had.
And City Clerk Rentati.
Welcome back.
Hello, everybody. I'm gonna just touch on Councillor Hart's comment about the City Hall closure. We do post it on our website in the news flash section, and that also creates a text message alert to anybody that's signed up to that. It sends them a message, whatever we say, City Hall's closed, or anything that we want to put on there. So it gets sent out, and then we also post it on Facebook. What we've been doing is we just put a text, but maybe what we'll do is we'll make it into like a picture or something so that it's visually nicer and maybe catches people's eye. But we have been posting it whenever it's closed. Janet or I think Elizabeth, someone will also go. I've seen several different posts myself, Janice and somebody else post that City Hall is closed. So we are putting it on Facebook.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I want to report on the graffiti issue. I've spoken to code enforcement, and at this point, we can't go out and paint unless it gets to be 50 degrees. The paint won't stick. So we've had Mr. Fisher is looking at a machine that basically pumps hot water in a solution that could possibly do graffiti removal, but it would take the paint off. So we would have the option of using it mostly on sidewalks. But we do know that there has been graffiti all over town, and we have it logged. We know where they are. And we know if we get a day above 50, that code enforcement's going to be out as quickly as they can to get as much of it off as they can. And then like Jackie said, you know, city closures are on Facebook. They are on our news flash. I do get notification on my email whenever I see that. And then as far as the gang shootings, I think I did miss one that I had emailed to me from Chief Escalera, and I just didn't get it. And Mike Farmer sent me an email that said he didn't get the email, and I sent it out right after that. So as soon as I get something from the police department, I try to disseminate it. They often come in at midnight when I'm already asleep. So you may see them sometimes at 5 in the morning or 6 o'clock when I wake up, or if it's a weekend, it might be 8 o'clock if I've slept in. So just a heads up there. And then otherwise, like I said, this week, I will be getting those packets out to the city manager contract committee, and just trying to keep business as usual going.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you again for all of your hard work. And I just want to, if there's no other business on this agenda, and I just want to, before I adjourn this meeting, I want to just read something that's on my agenda. And I know it's on all of your agendas as well, but I don't think we talk about it very often. It's something that council, as a group, we came up with a couple of years ago, and it's important. And it says this: the city of Sunnyside is a vibrant, safe, and clean city that offers great business, employment, recreational, and lifestyle opportunities to its diverse population. We thought that was important a few years ago. I still think it's important. I think that we as a body of council members, but also staff, that's what we're working towards. So without objection, this meeting is adjourned. Good night, everybody, and thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Not all.
Good meeting. Good meeting, guys.
Everybody, y'all.
Welcome, Vicky.
Thank you.